Pregame show for Duke versus Louisville. The brawl for it all in Youngstown, the hated Blue Devils are coming here to the Ville to fight, as our buddy Rashawn would say, the good guys. Your University of Louisville Fighting Cardinals, the beak with teeth. It's going down against the Blue Devils, that little guy with the blue suit looking kind of weird. I'm not sure what a Blue Devil is, but hey, it's a devil wearing blue, so hey, it is what it is.
Gotta get Herm Edwards thoughts on it.
I know, right? So yeah, this is a pretty big game. You know, personally, I've been trying to figure out, like, all year long, why with the 3-2 record early in the season was Duke in anybody's top 25. I mean, you're 3-2. Why are you in the top 25? Like what in good God Green Acres would have you in the top 25? That makes like zero sense to anybody.
Well, the top 25 has been kind of goofy all year, don't you think?
It's been crazy. Like this is
like it seems like it's a meme generator at this point, pretty much. Like,
yeah,
they just threw in a bunch of school names and then they'd spit ones out. Because we dropped from what? We went unranked to 16th, back to 35th or something ridiculous in the span of one poll.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. Yeah, it seems like Florida State 7-1 unranked.
Right. And then we lose to them and we drop 20 spots.
It's just it makes no sense whatsoever. And Duke still being in the top 25 is asinine, because they're not a very good team. They're like North Carolina. They have major gaps and holes in their game.
So it's, just chalk it up to more crazy stuff under COVID, right? We got Duke, Carolina, and Kentucky all outside of the top 25.
It's like the first time since, like, what, the 60s?
Yeah, since like the civil rights movement.
Since black people could play basketball.
I think this season and the way everything, cancellations, I think they said the other day we're playing right around 80% of scheduled games. So, side note, be interesting to see if that drops or maintains 80% when campuses open back up and athletes are on, going to class. But it's been a really goofy year. I think our team has suffered from it because I think they were really clicking and they started to find their groove, and we were all very excited about the concept of what happens when injured players get plugged into this rotation as well. And then they had to quarantine for 10 days, and it's shown. There's been rust on them. I think a lot of schools are having that trouble, and it really benefits a program like Gonzaga that's very senior heavy.
Go of it because of these shortened and pretty much non-existent spring, summer, and fall to get ready. It's really just happen to be the teams that have a lot of experienced guys that are finding the most success. I think one of the reasons that Louisville's had some success is because you have an experienced point guard in David Johnson, who's not going through this for the first time, and you have a very experienced Carly Combs that came over via transfer. And I think those two guys, kind of help Louisville through a lot of the issues, but with the COVID shutdown, as well as having a lot of other inexperienced players, now the teams are starting to get tape on them. Things are not going as smoothly for the Cardinals, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. And until Louisville starts to get some more of these experienced guys back, like Charles Midland, who's going to hopefully get to go today, as well as Malik Williams, I think that'll kind of help them out. But I think that clearly the teams with the experience are the ones that have found the most success and probably are going to look to do the best in March.
You talked about the backcourt, and I watch this team and think about what an unmitigated disaster the season would have been if we hadn't picked up Carly. He's really held the team together and carried them through a lot of games. If we did not have that that guy on this roster, I think we'd be having a much different discussion and a much different outlook.
I would definitely agree. I mean, Carlik has been the glue that's held this team together. He's the guy that can really get guys into position. He drives. He always stays aggressive. He's almost guaranteed, like 15 points. He's going to get some rebounds. He's going to get you some assists. He's going to start the offense. That he has been the guy that has been a big bright spot for this Cardinal team, as his compadre, like David Johnson as well, has also been another guy that, has been that consistency at guard that you need, because college basketball is a guards game. And Louisville having two good guards has helped them weather a lot of storms. And at the end of games, you don't worry as much anymore about this team falling apart, because you think they'll get it together. Yes, they're prone to give up leads, and we've seen that a lot, where they'll get up 15, 17, 20 points, and that lead starts to evaporate, and your sphincter gets really tight in the last 3 to 4 minutes, because the other team's making that rush, we start turning the balls over and doing things. But usually they seem to kind of get it back together, they get it going, and they can kind of push forward, which has been great. Now Florida State, they got down by 20, they got it to 8, and then the wheels came off. Kind of an anomaly. But for the most part, for the season, down the stretch, the guard play has been our strength.
The Florida State game, I want to get your all's thoughts on this, because it was very disappointing to me that was how we rebounded from the Miami game. And we don't look tough. We look distracted. And, what are your all's thoughts on that? Am I being too harsh on them or too critical, or do they look soft to you guys?
I think that, especially with the Florida State game, it was more about the fact that they just had so much more physical size. Not only is Florida State a very experienced team, a very deep team, a team with a lot of guys that have been there before, even though they did lose some guys to the pros, and that took away some of their starters, but you forget that, Leonard Hamilton was playing 10, 12 guys last year also. So, I just think that it's one of those things where, because of the lack of size, the fact that now Florida State's found their shooting stroke, at the end of the day, you're going to have to give up something. There's no perfect offense, or perfect defense. Louisville tried to crowd the paint at the beginning of the game, and what does Florida State do? They came out, hit their first 5 threes to the run. Okay, so then they come out and extend out on shooters, and what happens? Then Florida State's big men start hitting in the paint, and they start getting taken off the dribble, going to the basket. Unfortunately, if Florida State's going to shoot it that well, not only is Louisville not going to beat them, I don't know if there's many teams in the country that'll beat them shooting as well as they have over the last couple of games. I mean, they're literally, for the last 3 games, shooting about 55% from three-point range. And if you're going to have a team with that much size be able to go out and do that, I don't know what you do, with a team like that. That's a very tough ask, especially for you.
Yeah, and with a team shooting like that, there's really not too much you can do. But one of the things I have noticed about this Louisville team under Chris Mack, and this has been, I think, consistent throughout Chris Mack's career so far here. Now, this is his first team with his own players, so I'm not going to say this is a trend we need to watch out for as Louisville fans. Something to be aware of. His teams seem to go through a stretch, either in a game or in a season, where they completely forget how to play basketball. And it's inevitable. It happens every game. Now, last year it was for 10, 12 minutes of a game, they would just forget everything they did to play winning basketball. This year it's not as long. This year they got it down to around 4 or 5 minutes, where they kind of forget how's this work? And now we have games, last year had stretch of the season, 6, 7 games, where they kind of just meandered around the court, not really playing the style of basketball that you want them to play. This year, for the past 2 games, they've done that same thing. They kind of forgot to play that winning basketball, that they have to be patient on the offensive end. They have to keep moving. Everybody has to move around. You just can't stand there and play isolation, let somebody dribble and drive and kick. No, everybody has to move. Everybody has to set screens. And it seems like they kind of forget that throughout courses of the game. And for us, like the past 2 games, they've kind of gone through that stretch where they forgot how to play winning basketball. So I'll throw that back to you guys, man. Do you guys observe the same thing, or is that just me?
Sean, you want to start with it, because for me, it's I guess, and yes, you're absolutely correct that they go through. I'm happy this year it's not the extended 12 minutes of or a full half of basketball that we just say water plays. We don't do that. We're freestyling today. But the one thing that I expected, based on Mac's reputation, based on everything he said when he came here, I thought we were going to be a very scrappy, almost borderline dirty team. I thought we might have a little Cincinnati in us, from the Bob Huggins era. And we don't seem to have that. We don't have a guy on our team that really scares me. I think Dre Davis potentially could be the bulldog on our team. But he's kind of checked out the last couple games. Hadn't played well on the offensive end. We just don't have that guy that I feel like can go down there, go up, grab a rebound, and everybody on the court knows that was his ball. That presence in the paint, that if you come in here for a layup, you're not getting a freebie.
Well, when I think about, the common denominators between both the Miami and Florida State, what you have for both of those teams are extremely big, physical, athletic post players. And I think that you are right with that. Louisville doesn't really have that physical presence. And one of the reasons why is when you think about it, all these guys are freshmen and sophomores. You have an anorexic JJ trainer who's giving you everything that he has, but unfortunately, JJ, I don't know if JJ's even hit 200 pounds soaking wet yet. I know they say he's about 205, but JJ's a little guy. Jalen Withers is playing out of position. He's supposed to be starting at the 4 spot. Right now, he's having to play the 5. And I think that that physical toughness just isn't there yet, both because of the size of the players, but frankly their age. You got basically all these guys are freshmen and sophomores. You don't really have any of your low post guys. Unfortunately, Aiden Gahan's been dealing with being in the doghouse as well as a bum ankle that he's been nursing for the last 3 weeks. So you just don't have a lot of physical size. And G Wiz is not really ready to play that level of minutes. So Louisville is pretty much having to run everything from the perimeter. Anytime you have to run the bulk of your offense from the perimeter, from the outside in, and you don't really have that consistent low post presence to be able to get rebounds and put the ball back in, or catch the ball in the low post and make a move, it makes it very difficult to consistently play well when you're having to depend on jump shots a lot. And this little team has to depend on jump shooting a lot. They don't get to the free throw line a lot. And I think that's where the inconsistency comes from, because at some point when you're shooting a lot of jumpers, you're going to look bad on offense, because the nature of shooting jump shots is going to be on and it's going to be off. And unfortunately, outside of Carleague and David, nobody else is shooting over 26% from 3-point range. That's a big problem.
Was that supposed to be Nickelberry? Was supposed to be like the 3-point marksman? I mean,
hey, it's not for not trying.
He's trying.
Hey, man, he has not seen a shot yet that he didn't think was his, and I'm cool with it. Now, if it carries on for a full season, I might be a little different next year, but I want to see him shoot his way out of it, because I do remember how hard we were on Luke Hancock, when he first came here, and he turned out to be a pretty good player for us.
Well, look how hard everybody was on David Johnson. David Johnson shot about 25% from 3 last year, and David talked about the fact he was coming off injury, he was coming off shoulder surgery, and really just it took him a while to get into that groove. And I think the same thing could be expected. Nickelberry didn't really play a lot last year, and now this year he's coming off injury, he's coming off the fact he hasn't played a lot. So, I think that it's going to take him a little while, which is why you were hoping to have a healthy Charles Midland as well as, Carleague Jones to kind of take the pressure off some of those guys, because I think shooting was a concern coming in. And while it's been a pleasant surprise with how good Carleague and David's been, they definitely going to need some help to beat the best teams. Like, they're good enough to beat the bad teams as is, but when you're talking about beating the best teams in the conference, or if you're going to have a Miami team that's going to have, Wong go off for 30, in those nights, you're going to have to be able to knock down shots, and it can't just be David and Carleague.
Oh, no, you definitely have to have somebody else that can nail the 3, that can extend the defense. And if you're not going to have anybody nail the 3, extend the defense, then you're going to have to drive, cut, have the guy come off the weak side with the dish and get the cheap points. with JJ seems to do pretty well with that. Actually, our big guy, quote unquote big guys seem to do pretty well.
Big skinnies.
Yeah, the big skinnies. They seem to do pretty well when you drive, dish it to them. They can come in and dunk.
They've got great hands.
Yeah, come in, get the layup. They can come in and do what they have to do. Yeah, but I think Louisville just have to, they have to be smart enough to realize, okay, the three may not be falling right now. Let's go to plan A. Because that technically, to me, that should be plan A. The three-point shot for Louisville should be plan B. Plan A should be drive.
DJ should be trying to get to the free throw line every possession.
Oh, with the size and the athleticism, definitely.
Every possession, at least try to get into the paint. If they've got it jammed up, then somebody's open. Simple as that.
They got to find enough consistent number three. Samuel Williamson is not a guy who's a volume three-point shooter. He's a guy that likes to play in the middle. So I think he's the guy. Louisville needs to have a third scorer, and it should be Samuel Williamson. And he's got to be a guy that, when he's not, like Sam likes to get into the middle and shoot those cute little fadeaways, but he has to find a way to start getting to the free throw line. If he was getting to the free throw line 6 to 8 times a game and could kind of supplement what he's doing defensively and rebounding the ball by getting to the free throw line, I think you can see a guy that can consistently give you 12 to 14 points per game. And I think, if you can get that consistently, we've seen when Samuel Williamson scores in double figures, I don't think Louisville's lost a game yet this year where Sam was in double figures.
I know, and they haven't.
I think that's a big part.
But it is a big, but that's exactly what you need. You need that third scorer. And hopefully, once Malik comes back, Midland may play sometime this year. I mean, he played once and got kind of lost. So maybe may get lost again and find his way back to the court.
Chris Mack said that he was going to play today from the press media availability that he had on Friday. Chris Mack said that he is going to give Charles Midland some money. He said he's definitely more healthy than he was during the Wake Forest game. So we're going to see what he looks like today. He's going to get his opportunity.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited. Now, what about Duke? What do you guys think Duke needs to do if they want to pull that W out of the Yum Center?
You want to go first?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I think the first thing I'll just say is, they have Jalen Johnson. Not the Jalen Johnson that played at Louisville. He's gone and been gone for a while, but they do have another young man, Jalen Johnson, who's also a 6'8", 6'9"-ish, kind of inside-outside guy. He's, Duke's best rebounder. He's their best interior presence defensively. As he goes, Duke goes usually when they are able to stay in ball games and compete. So, if you're Louisville, if you can keep Jalen Johnson from getting started down low, I think that's a good matchup for Jalen Withers. We saw that Withers did very good against that kind of tweener big guy that Virginia Tech had a couple games ago. I think that if Jalen Withers can nullify that matchup with Jalen Johnson, I think that would be a good start for Louisville to have an opportunity to win, because I do think they do have an advantage in the guard position.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup because on paper Duke has the better talent, air quotes or whatever. But if you look at their play, they're not that different with what they do on the court. So what we need to do is make sure that we don't let Jalen Johnson have his breakout game. He's had some really good games this year, but he hadn't had that super freak game that you just hope you're not that opponent that he has his coming out party for. They've also got some decent perimeter shooters. One thing that really stands out to me about Duke when I was looking over their stats, they are not a good free throw shooting team, like at all as a team. So there may be something there if we can get to the free throw line more than they can, and we can just get easy, cheap points. I think it's going to come down to which team out rebounds the other and second chance points, because neither team, unless they're hot, shoots really all that well. So to me, that means it's going to be a lot of getting down on the block, boxing out, getting second chance opportunities.
It's weird to say, but this Duke team is really a poor man's Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds odd to say that Duke is a poor man's Virginia Tech, but I think that you're looking at pretty much the same type of team. Now, you do have Matthew Hurt, who's more of a four-man that, he's pretty much a three-point shooter. He's a guy who's going to shoot a lot of fadeaway mid-ranges and pull up three-point shots. Hurt's pretty much the guy on the outside. Jalen Johnson's pretty much the guy on the inside. You have Jordan Goldwire that's been there for 1,000 years, and he's more of your hustle man, gritty, defensive dude. He's not really going to go out and score a lot. So I don't think they cause as many offensive problems, because I don't think they shoot it as well as Virginia Tech. but it's going to be a very similar game. And I think that if Jalen Withers can really, take it to Jalen Johnson, either through getting him in foul trouble, which especially early in the year, he's gotten into some foul trouble. I think that Louisville will have a good chance, and especially with as well as Jalen has played over the last couple of games, I think there's an opportunity for him to continue that persistence. I mean, he had a big double-double on the road against Miami in the loss. He had 15 and 9 against Florida State on Monday night. This is the chance for him to go ahead and put together his third good game versus good competition versus another, nice opposing big guy. And if they can do that, and David and Carly come in and give their normal games, I don't even think you even necessarily need a Samuel Williamson to go off to win today. I just don't think that this Duke team is up to the level, of your classic Duke squads.
Not at all. It's kind of how I felt doing pregame football shows a few years back for Florida State. It's not the program you're accustomed to. This is an outlier year for K. It's not a good team. I think Louisville has a better team, quite frankly. Now, and I'd be very confident about this game if it hadn't been for the Florida State and Miami games that we're coming off of. I don't know which version of this U of L roster will show up to play today.
That's going to be the question. I mean, it'll come down to, who shoots it better, because Duke has been hot and cold shooting the ball, especially from the other guys. So if Louisville's others shoot better, then clearly I think that Louisville can win this thing going away, especially on top of the fact that Chris Mack has played very well against Coach K so far this year. That's one matchup. It's kind of like the Rick Pitino versus Syracuse. Now you have Chris Mack versus Duke. And Chris Mack just seems to have Coach K's number, so you do have that playing in your favor as well. So I don't think Louisville has to play over their head to win. I just think they need to go out, handle their business. If they do that, they get this win on Saturday afternoon.
And definitely, if this Louisville team plays like we know they can play, if they stay patient in the half-court offense, they don't try and get too crazy. They don't try to fall in love with a three-point shot. They run the offense that they know how to run. They'll be fine. That's number one. Number two, Louisville likes to start slow. That's okay. If you're going to start slow, but don't be slow for 10 minutes. Just be slow for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Only get down by 6 or 7 points, and then you'll be fine. Don't get down by 24 points and then try to claw your way back, the entire end of the first half, all the second half, trying to come back.
So you're not a fan of their Satterfield impression?
No. I like them to do. I like them to be like Bobby. Just come out with daggers in your eyes. That's one thing. I still think this team. I think their next level is that they have to learn to be killers.
Now we do have a question coming in from Strong Faith here on Facebook. Strong Faith said the bottom line is whoever wins the rebounding battle wins the game, and then also asked if there's any word on Malik. And I'll just say this in regards to Malik. Of course, University of Louisville always puts out those photos from the practices and things. There was a little bit of buzz on Twitter because they showed Malik Williams huddled with everybody reviewing some film, and he was in his practice uniform. No boot, nothing like that. Now, does that mean he's going to play? No, because we saw Charles Midland sneak into some of those pictures, as he was coming through his rehab. But that's a great sign, because if Malik Williams is out there with no boot, practicing with the guys, that means he's at least been given the clearance to get out there and start resuming some practice activities, which means he's gotten the clearance that his foot looks good enough for them to put him through that. So I don't think we'll see Malik for the next couple of weeks, but he definitely looks to be back and getting ready. And if you're a Cardinal fan, that's got to get you excited.
And we got to get excited. And while we're getting excited, before tip-off starts, for all the people out there listening, for the hundreds and thousands of people tuned into the pregame show, hey, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, leave us a comment on YouTube. We do have all our comments here. We do interact with everybody. So, hey, interact with us. We're here for you. And also like the Facebook page. Help us get to 10,000 likes on Facebook. So share with all your friends. We need 1,500 subscribers on YouTube, so help us out with that as well. And you can see Rashawn's beautiful face in our main event background every time you can if you just like and subscribe. You know what? For the 1,000th subscriber, he will do a personal Facebook YouTube live show just for you and answer all your Louisville questions.
I will do that, absolutely.
I put him on the spot.
And I will do that. And I do parties and bar mitzvahs.
Flexing that cameo money.
I know, right? There we go. So hey, we got 2 minutes before tip. Who you got? Duke, Louisville. What's
Louisville.
up?
I'm gonna say Louisville 76, Duke 69.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm gonna say the 3,000 rabid Cardinal fans in attendance will pull Louisville through, make it happen. I'm gonna go like 65, 61 Cardinals.
You know what? Louisville's desperate. They've lost 2 games in a row. Coach Mack has been on them for every second of the last several days. They've not heard the end of it. Louisville fans have been on them. Give me Louisville 75-60. I think they're going to go ahead and lay it to Duke today. I think Coach Mack has that mojo against Coach K, and I think Louisville gets it done going well.
So your prediction is a booming.
Boom. Yes, it's going to be a boom.
Hey, you know what? That's what I'm talking about. You know what else I'm talking about? This crazy year. I know we got like a minute left, but why is Clemson ranked 20th in the country at 3-3 in conference? And Florida State, who's second in conference at 4-1, is not ranked at all. What sense does that make? That makes like 0 sense.
Give it 2 days. They'll be in there.
0 sense. You know how it is? That's like college football, man. The Alabama's is going to be ranked regardless, no matter how bad they are, which have been bad about a decade. But but still, like they're always like number 1, number 2. It's like Duke, North Carolina will always be ranked regardless what type of trash they put on the court.
Georgia. No, say Georgia, because Georgia's always number 5 in the country to start every season.
That is the truest.
For no reason.
That might be the truest thing you've ever said, man.
For no reason.
I was talking to a buddy who's a UGA grad, and I said, your all's existence has to be miserable. Every year they lie to you and tell you you're the 5th best team in the country preseason. Then you come out and find out you're 3rd in your conference.
You had to hold on for a prayer to beat Cincinnati with a miracle comeback. Hey, Luke Fickle, if you're listening, I think in a couple of years, maybe a head coaching vacancy and about 80 miles down 71. I'm gonna float that out there.
I'll feed you.
And there we go. Oh, there's a tip. We won the tip. You know what? I think we may with some running commentary here for a little bit. If that's okay with you.
Hey, I'm here.
Is that
Let's
okay
do
with
it.
you, Rob?
Absolutely.
Okay. We get some bonus footage here.
Yeah, you can put your TV on mute and not have to listen to Jay Billis humble brag about Purvis Ellis and posterizing him all the time in the championship.
That's like to do that, doesn't it?
That and ball screen, man. Play a drinking
Good
game.
defense. That's what I'm talking about. Good defense. Now, that's right. See, slow it down. Run your offense. Everybody move around. No, nobody. Look, everybody's moving. Nobody stand around. You're not the Harlem Globetrotters. There you go.
Oh, I thought he was going to pop it.
No,
The only reason why I pull as hard for Quinn as I do is that I thought it was absolutely hysterical that fans were always talking about the Super Six and all this, and meanwhile Quinn's over there like, but I'm the 7th guy. I'm kind of decent.
Yeah, you're all right. You're doing a pinch.
Yeah, right.
I remember I was hyped to see Ed DeGayon, and apparently he can't even get off the bench. He played at the beginning of the season like when we were like really desperate for people. And now we're not so desperate.
And that's why I wonder what's going on with him in practice, because to my point about we don't have that physical presence, but we do have a guy nicknamed the Irish Hulk. So if he's not out there bodying people, what's going on? It feels like we could use that.
I mean, look, my thing is if he gets 5 or 6 fouls anyway, then who cares? That's what he's there for. Go out there, hack somebody really hard, elbow somebody in the ribs.
Collect some teeth, man. Get your Danny Fortson on.
Yeah, and bounce.
That's been my whole thing with Hayden. Maybe Hayden is not the best at communicating. Maybe he doesn't understand the defense that well. But at the end of the day, he's big, he's strong, he's physical. Did anybody see that putback dunk he had off of a rebound?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody else on the team can do that. Just let him do what he does. He may not be perfect at it. I just feel like Hayden DeGayon is a guy that Coach Mack just doesn't like. There's always somebody who's in the coach's doghouse. Like, I've never seen a team under, Denny Crum, Rick Pitino, Chris Mack, even under David Padgett. David Padgett hated Jordan Moore. Like, Moore was never going to do anything but a
between the years of 1900 and 1980, or probably 1990, that would not be considered a foul. That would just be a good shot. Take the ball to bounds and go.
Yeah, like if my grandfather came back and I showed him a basketball game today, he wouldn't recognize the sport.
That's not a foul. You didn't punch him. There's
Right?
no blood.
No blood.
Yeah, that's terrible.
We're playing dirt ball rules.
Right. Kermit Washington, now that was a foul.
Anything Charles Barkley did was a foul.
Charles Oakley.
Oh,
And Anthony Mason would like a Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn.
those guys would not last in today's basketball. Like, they would
Oh,
foul
no.
out every game.
No, and like with the rule changes in football, one of my favorite conversations to have with buddies is, what are the guys that are Hall of Fame, defenders in the NFL? They wouldn't make roster today because they'd be a walking 15-yard penalty.
Oh, yeah, everything be 15 yards.
Ronnie Lott, Jack Tatum.
Oh, especially Jack Tatum.
Jack Tatum, man.
With the head slap? Come on now.
Come on. Come on.
15 yards. Oh, man, and how about all the 15-yard penalties now for breathing on a quarterback that you would not have?
Do you remember when quarterbacks, if they were still playing at 37, it was a big deal?
Oh, yeah.
And now they're playing into their 40s because they're not getting hit the way they used to.
Oh, not at all.
Go look at that hit Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor ended so many careers and cut him so many short. Like, he's known for Joe Theismann. Y'all remember what he did to Montana?
Oh, God.
That's how Steve Young became the starter, and Kansas City Joe got a new location.
Oh, that hit still gives me chills.
You know that hit sounded awful when he got Theismann, when a maniac like Lawrence Taylor stops dead in his tracks and begs and pleads for medical attention for his opponent. Because compassion's not the first thing I think of when I think of Lawrence Taylor.
No.
But I'm going to tell you what I think of when I think of Lawrence Taylor. A man that could play football at the highest level while smoking crack. That is talent on loan from God. I mean, you can play that well high. I mean, and I'm not talking about heroin or weed. Crack.
Like, yeah, no. People talk about Ron Artest used to drink at halftime of Bulls games. And a lot of guys, a lot of hoopers smoke weed. Okay, that doesn't really impress me. You're out there doing the hard stuff that ruins lives. And
hard drugs.
Man,
Crack.
that stuff puts you under a bridge. Like, and you're getting a double-double on the rocks?
You're like Pookie from New Jack City.
God's chosen one right here.
Man, Louisville was lighting up from the three-point line. I could have been wrong.
And Louisville is a team that, especially early in the year, DeAndre Davis was consistently knocking down a three-point shot. He's been a guy who's been struggling mightily. Sam Williamson's a guy who's not been playing well. But the thing is, if you're getting shots with Carly Jones and David Johnson, you're going to knock those down. But if DeAndre Davis starts to really heat back up, he gets a lot of wide open looks because all the defense is concentrating on Carly today. That happens, Louisville's going to be in a good spot. Right now, the Cardinals are up right now, and my prediction's looking good early.
Man, are the two worst teams, the two most hated teams in college basketball, than the two snobbiest teams in all of college basketball in Duke, North Carolina? I mean, is anything just more snobbish than wearing Argyle, powder blue and Argyle?
No. Virginia is by far, because the pompousness of Virginia extends past what's on the court and coaching staff. It extends into their athletic department in general. Like, they have their sports information director, and he literally points to and tells the people who can speak like you're at some congressional press conference or something. Like, he tells you who can ask questions, points you out, and you can't speak until
man, but Virginia's like new money. That really doesn't count. Those guys are new money. They're like new on the block. Virginia's like that dude who wins the lottery and tries to perpetrate like they've been rich their whole lives. Like, that's Virginia.
Buys a Hummer.
That's probably true.
Yeah. That's Virginia. They win the lottery and they're moving up from the Catskill Mountains, to the suburbs, trying to look cute. Hey, I want to buy me an Argyle sweater too. Hey, look at me, I'm just like you guys. And those kind of Duke like, yeah.
Duke is like the in a class above itself. Like, they are in their own ivory tower of
I'm gonna tell you exactly who Duke is. Duke is the villain.
Mm-hmm.
No. Duke is that rich villain in every Rodney Dangerfield movie.
I was going to say, they're an 80s villain. They're an 80s teen romp villain.
That's Duke.
Duke's trying to shut down the rec center.
That's Duke. Duke's that villain in any Rodney Dangerfield movie, like that rich guy in
or like
Shack that you really hate because he's rich and snobbish.
Is
That's
the
Duke.
guy, the principal in the Breakfast Club that says the next screw that falls out is going to be you.
I love that you mentioned Caddyshack because I said, "Oh, buddy, this is how it's going to look when U of L rolls into the ACC. Like it's totally going to look like
Who is Rodney Dangerfield?
Oh yeah.
Now you know I can
No respect.
Hey, by the way, people, as far as an update on the game, Louisville was up 10-5 in the first meeting. It's Mount Winston-Zinski, DeAndre Davis, and Carly Jones have all hit threes. So if you're a Louisville fan, that's a good sign. The other point coming from David Johnson. So far, so good. And Duke hasn't been hitting the line out of the bar from downtown. So look good so far.
Real quick to address your slander against UNC, which is always appreciated around me. They have got one of the weirdest identities to me. Because as a kid, I didn't hate them. I mean, that's home to Michael Jordan, Rasheed Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse. I did not hate North Carolina until Tyler Hansbrough played there.
Really?
Yes.
Tyler Hansbrough was like the guy who did it for you.
That was, man, that Psycho T nonsense, man. And oh, goodness, I was happy when he got to the NBA and got punked by Kevin Garnett. Never tried that cheap shit. Not once. He was just such a punk in college, man. And when he tackled Earl,
Back when Dean Smith was the coach of North Carolina, I was an absolute fan. I loved Louisville first, of course, but I was a huge fan of North Carolina, and I was a huge fan of Georgetown.
Yep.
I loved Big John.
You're trading to sell out.
You know, those physical teams, that Georgetown used to put on the floor, with Pat Ewings and then Alonzo Mourning and Jimmy Mutombo. I just love those ferocious athletes.
AI and Othello.
All of those squads, and the same thing was the same thing with North Carolina pre-Roy Williams, because Roy Williams basically turned North Carolina into like Duke West.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But when Dean had them, they were all just athletic monsters.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't realize it, but that's basically what I just said about they're two different, to me. Yeah, it was the Dean Smith era that was cool, and then the Roy Williams era that's like, okay, Dabo, but with round ball.
Right. No, I used to like all those. Now I'm moving all in. I don't really, but you know what? I do. I know little fans hate this, but I love what Leonard Hamilton's doing down at Florida State. Florida State is the closest thing that I've seen to, the Hoya Paranoia era Georgetown squads of John Thompson. This is probably the closest thing to it. A team that's physical, dominant, aggressive, just really just go out there to try to intimidate every team they play. This is probably the closest thing that I've seen since Big John squads. And, I do like it. I like the way they play. I like the guys they recruit. They have been impressive.
I agree with you completely, man. I absolutely love the rosters that he puts together. I mean, it's almost like if you're not 6'8" and able to handle the ball, don't bother. If he were 10 years younger, y'all would have had to pry me off of a rooftop because I would have been screaming for him to replace Rick.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. I wanted him, and even at his age, I was still like, you know what? I'll take it if he's got another 10 in the tank. But realistically, can he come here and and establish anything that? And also, at that age, why are you leaving Florida to come to cold Kentucky?
No, I mean,
but he's great.
Leonard's awesome. I mean, and he's like the ageless wonder. Dude has not aged in the last 20 years.
Bunny Colvin.
Like, it's ridiculous. I don't know how he does it, but those squads that he puts together, I can't help but like them. I've always liked those teams that are just gritty and tough, but also still skilled. I mean, that was the thing about those old school Georgetown teams. Like, those guys were physical and dominant, but they were very skilled ball players. And that's what Leonard Hamilton does. He brings those physical, athletic kids in there, but teaches them to play with smarts, not just, they're not trying to run you
Getting sloppy.
Yeah, you know, this is what they do. This is like the ebb and flow of Louisville basketball here.
Just about to say, so I guess this is the point we decided to go into the lull.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll pull out of it maybe.
It's cool, man. We wanted to go on and get that knocked out of the way.
Yeah, you want to get that done early.
It's like eating the vegetables first.
That's right. Cake second.
Yeah. Now, talking about hating guys on Duke, I used to give Luke Hancock so much crap because I told him, do you have any idea how the reason why people love you so much is because we finally got the annoying dude from Duke on our team? And when he plays on your team, it's a lot more fun. Because I would have hated Luke with that little head shimmy that he would do, that little push off. Oh, I would have hated that guy if he played for Duke.
Oh, and there's still more coming down the pipe. You got Eric Vanderhayden coming in next year, who's another, kind of big, tall, fair-skinned brother that's going to talk a lot of smack and knock down threes in your face. You're going to get that from Eric, and then I've seen that Louisville's already in with the kid in the junior class. That's another, 6'9", 6'10", long, three-point shooting, fair-skinned guy. So I think that's going to become a staple of what Chris Mack's like coming out on the court.
I'm here for it, man.
What that shot was from Sammy Williams.
Yeah, I kind of got distracted by that. I can confirm it was in fact a shot.
Fellas, we do have another question. I see it coming in on the text line. Strong Face wants to know, it says, my question is, if Louisville loses this game, 3-game losing streak, so in the words of Kevin Hart, now what? I mean, Louisville's had a losing, 3-game losing streak in the year that they won the national championship. So, I mean, while it would not be optimal to have a 3-game losing streak, normally Louisville has their kind of fall apart or, fall down or tough stretch. Usually that's happened under Chris Mack in February. So if it happens in January, maybe you get it out of the way and you build towards a good finish of the season. So, I think that we'll just be wait and see. I don't think that a 3-game losing streak, especially when, 2 of those losses come to Duke and Florida State, because at least in terms of name, it's not going to look negative. But I don't think that fans should necessarily hit the panic button. Do you guys think so?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's not ideal, obviously. I'm not one of those people that thinks that was a good loss. Team learned from it. I think if they do go on a 3-game losing streak, what you have to do and what the coaching staff will have to do and what the team's going to have to do is take a long, honest look at how are we losing games. And I think a problem, I'll continue to say this until everybody's vaccinated and we're back to normal. Until that's the case, everybody's life is different. And that includes athletes. This team was doing well until they went on that 10-game quarantine, or 10-day quarantine, rather. They haven't looked the same, and I'm assuming that's because while they were quarantining, they were also taking time away from practice. And they haven't looked like they were in the same groove. They haven't picked up, at the spot that they kind of left off at before that.
I agree with you. I mean, and even with the Louisville women's team, the number 1 team in the country, even when they came off their pause, the women struggled with UT Martin, coming off of that pause. So I mean, it's clear that coming off COVID is more than just what you missed in terms of practice time. I mean, Coach Mack talked a lot about the fact that Carly Jones, who was one of the players that seemed to be suffering from the effects of COVID, he was exhausted 2 and
And you know what? And that's something that I can definitely wholeheartedly agree with. And I can definitely co-sign. You know, it's like you could tell just how different this team played before the COVID took place on the team. Before the COVID restrictions, they had to kind of dial it back a little bit. And now you can see how much better they're playing like afterwards. You know, they kind of got back into the groove. They're playing better. And you can tell that like during that lull period in the, you know, when it first got back and played Wisconsin and got destroyed, and you could tell they were kind of slow. And even the game after that, you could tell they really weren't all the way back. And it was like a couple of games after that, they kind of started hitting their stride. And now, you know, they finally look like, you know, pretty healthy, like they're kind of hitting their stride. So give it a little bit. And it's still not 100%. You know, Malik still isn't here. And he's like guy that can give you that energy. He could be that force on the inside that apparently Gahan will not be, it looks like. So, you know, once Menley gets into rotation and works his way into rotation and gets back to basketball speed, you know, that may be another score. That could be the third score that you're missing. So then if you add, you know, Sam Wilson or somebody else, at that point it's just a plus.
I tell you what, David, and Charles Bentley, he's gotten into the game a little bit in this game so far, and he looks to be moving a lot better than he was. It looks a lot more alive. His legs look more alive. So that's got to be a good sign that at least he's out there and looking active and energetic. So, you know, I'll take that right now. Now it's just going to be a question of how long it's taking to get back into shape and get into the rhythm.
Another hat. Good.
Honestly, I'm cool with it.
So it looks like, I don't know if we're going to be doing anything for the AFC and NFC championship games. Tom Brady said that they are taking the Chiefs and Bucks to win. So do you guys have, do you agree with them? Chiefs and Bucks? Super Bowl, or, you know, what do you think about that?
I mean, that definitely seems to be the popular choice. I don't know, though. Aaron Rodgers is looking pretty good. I don't know why I keep doing it, because he keeps proving me wrong, but I keep telling myself Tom Brady's 42 and he's going to act like it this 1 week, damn it.
You know, I like Green Bay. You know, they've been kind of the odds-on choice. You know, it seems like Aaron Rodgers is destined that he's going to be the NFL's most valuable player. So, I think that I'll go with Green Bay, especially because they have Jair Alexander. You know, call me a homer, but I'm going to go for the little guy. Hopefully, he gets a shot at the Super Bowl and show off that he is one of the best quarterbacks. You know, they got a listing of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and Jair Alexander didn't make the list. So I will be very happy if he gets an opportunity to do that. And I just hope the Bills kick the Chiefs' butt. I hate the Chiefs. I'm tired of the Chiefs. I'm tired of looking.
I mean, you're just mad because you're a Raiders fan and they dog walk you guys.
So I've never liked the Chiefs. So screw the Chiefs. Go Bills.
Hold up, you can't like the Chiefs because you're a Raiders fan. That's a very biased comment. I'm not taking that. You know what?
I'm going with the Bills. The Bills raised $450,000 for blessings in a backpack, Louisville. They're awesome.
Yeah, that's who I'll be cheering for. That I can't hate on the Bills after their fans came through like that. I can't say nothing but nice things about those crazy northern New Yorkers. I mean, they're fools. Bills Mafia is ridiculous, jumping off chairs and breaking tables and all that. I mean, it's. I always assumed you had to get highly liquored up to be able to go topless in Buffalo in January.
Yes.
But I didn't know that you hit a level. I didn't know that you could hit a level of drunk where you and your pals decide, let's throw each other through tables.
They're a different breed up there.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Different breed, man.
Looks like Duke is beginning to heat up from the three-point line, 2 in a row. Really?
Yeah, he reminds me of the big guy that played for Marquette several years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Steiner squad. I can't think of his name. Big tall kid that used to shoot all the threes. Oh, that's gonna kill me. I can't think of his name. But he's definitely not gonna go in there and give you a left hand, right hand look. All he's gonna do is shoot fadeaways and 3-pointers. Trust me. That's all he wants.
The Louisville seem to be playing better defense this game.
I think it's, the physical, you're not going to get that physical challenge. They don't have, a Vernon Carey in the middle like they did last year. They don't have Jaleel Okafor or Terry Giles or Marvin Bagley. They don't have, classically every year over the last several years, Duke's had that big physical post presence. They don't really have that this year. So, this is a team that, from a defensive schematic standpoint, Louisville should be able to contend with. You're not going to have that dominant big team. So they should definitely at least be able to have that going for them in this game. Miami and Florida State have much more bigger, physical, athletic interior players that they're going to deal with than what they're going to see this year.
Man, that'd been nice if you could have had, I don't know, somebody big and strong on your team that's from Africa, maybe that migrated to, I don't know, Ireland or something like that. They could, at least body somebody up and maybe just tire him out.
He hates him, David. He hates him. He'll never let him play. He probably just looks over at Aiden Gahan and just is like,
oh, nice behind the back pass by Trey Davis. Trey Davis
some
behind it.
stank on it.
Look at him. He's feeling it.
I really like that young man.
Indiana fundamentals right there.
But I'm telling you, this is the best thing about Malik being hurt, is that the freshman got to play because they never would have played if he was healthy. If Midland and Malik were healthy, these guys never would have played, and we would have lost nice 3. And we would have lost like a whole lot in development for these guys. I don't feel too much, Trey. Take your time, buddy. You're getting a little too excited there, buddy. But yeah, that's the best thing about Malik and Midland being hurt.
It's opened up a lot of opportunities for guys. Some guys have taken advantage of it. Some guys haven't been given the opportunity to.
All the guys taking advantage of it except for Aiden Gahan. I mean, like, literally, like, everybody,
I can only think how many games has he played in? I only remember him being on the court twice.
I think like 3 games.
He played the first 3 games. I'm going to say the first 3 or 4 games he played. But like I said, I don't really know what he did that just upset Coach Mack so much. But, he just, I just don't like he likes it. Like everybody, there's always somebody that don't. I think, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because Chris Mack thought that, because he was the highest rated guy in that first recruiting class in the Super 6. And, I think that he thought this was going to be a guy who could run the floor, could be a linchpin of the defense, and so athletic and so quick that he'd just be able to just build everything around that centerpiece. And, I think it just disgusts him that he hasn't picked it up and gotten it. I do. Like, I think there's a lot of expectations. And when you're coming off having, 2 outstanding big men last year, I think there's just a lot of expectation for that center position. And Chris Mack's not willing to lower, for Aiden Gahan, unfortunately. I hate it for him, but I think that if you're not going to play the kid, then if I was Chris Mack, I would have
Let him go.
let him transfer mid-year.
Right before January.
I mean, it's one of those things where I don't like it. I mean, I know that especially foreign kids and kids from overseas, those relationships and the relationships that are built between the parents and those coaches goes a lot deeper than a lot of times what happens with kids that live in the States. So, I mean, it could be a situation where Aiden's going to stick it out. He's a kid of his word. He's going to just go and continue to fight till he gets there. And you know what? That could work because, I mean, it happened for the big guy for UK last year. I can't think of the big guy's name. It took him his junior year to finally kind of get it. It's not Dakari Johnson. Who was the big guy?
I can see him.
Yeah, I know. I can't think. Goofy, the big Neanderthal dude.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. But,
Yep.
That used to be, the thought is that you're going to have your juniors and seniors and sophomores playing most of the minutes, and a freshman wasn't really expected to make a big-time impact until he was a third-year player. So, it still does happen that way. Sometimes the kids don't really figure it out to their junior year. That's why people that are very tough on Samuel Williamson, I asked for him to give a little bit of, time with them because most kids don't really reach their stride. In health, Wayne Blackshear, it didn't happen until his seniors, where he really broke out of it and became, more of what people wanted him. So, it can always happen. But, we live in this one and done era, so people just expect that if you come in with any sort of hype and you're not awesome as a freshman, then you're just a bust and a worthless player. He needs to transfer.
Yeah, and to your point about, it still happens sometimes. There are programs that's still their mantra. Look at Tony Bennett up at UVA. Yeah, occasionally he gets a hyper-athletic guy, or he'll have a first-round pick, and they'll be gone in 2 years, but it's not a one-and-done program, and they win games.
Florida State has 2 redshirt seniors starting
Yeah.
on their team. Redshirts.
Speaking of Florida State, man, they're taking Clemson to the woodshed. They're taking behind the woodshed, beating, burned the woodshed down, went to the neighbor's woodshed, and took behind that one.
Oh,
63-28. Man, and these guys are ranked?
not anymore.
Clemson was ranked?
But once again, like I said, man, this Florida State team is one of the best teams in the country. And as well as they've been shooting the ball, once they figured it out, because this is the thing, if you watch Florida State play Indiana earlier in the year, Indiana beat Florida State, okay? And that's because at that point, Florida State didn't really know, how their rotations were going to work, and they couldn't shoot the ball. I think they shot about 22% from three in that game versus Indiana. Now they're shooting the ball at a 50% clip from three. And when you have a team that big and that athletic, and they're able to shoot the ball, it's just not fair. They're just not figuring it out, but it's one of the best teams in the country.
Man, it seems like every year Florida State goes to, I don't know where they go to, but they find every, tall, long, athletic dude they can find and just stock them on the roster. I teach to play basketball later. I just need to be athletic, super
6'11".
long, and tall. 6'5" and taller, athletic, I got you.
Yeah, like I said earlier, if you're not 6'8", maybe that's not, because they probably got some, some guards. If you don't have a 7-foot wingspan, you need not apply to that program.
It's almost like Bobby Huggins back in the day when he was at Cincinnati, when everybody that he recruited was 6'5", no, it was 6'3" to 6'7", nobody taller, but everybody was short, stocky, and muscular. And then they just bullied everybody.
I swear
the
Huggins.
whole time he was there.
I think Huggins did his recruiting on blacktop courts, not indoor wood courts.
He did.
Man, those teams. They were intimidating.
He went to Over the Run in Cincinnati, went to the hood, got himself a Big Red and some White Castles, and sat there and watched basketball all day long. On the course, you, come here, Maxfield. Yeah, you can play for me.
Yeah. And then the one little guy he had was what's his name? Ed Logan. Looked like DMX. Man, he had the heart of a dude, 7'5" though. So
he did. It was Nicky Carroll was Lou was always tall. We always had that center.
Nick Van Exel is another Cincinnati Bearcat that you just know he can fight.
Yeah.
You know he knows how to fight well.
You knew no matter what happened, if fight ever broke out, Cincinnati we always come on top. It was we got this.
Aikman, I will let you know that we are getting some questions about our audio. Said our audio is really low, so I just want to let you know.
Go ahead.
For better housekeeping, they said that the audio is kind of iffy right now.
I don't know who
What is that?
So just FYI.
How's that a foul? He's behind him.
That's the James Harden foul, man.
How was that a foul? He was behind him.
Stop.
Well, you kind of walked into the given space to land, so you kind of got to give ground back. You bumped into
I do feel like we're going to see the powers that be in both the NBA and college basketball do something about that move that James Harden's just perfected of getting in front of you and then stopping on a dime so you run into him and get the foul call. They're going to change that rule, but until they do.
James Harden should win the Academy Award every year for his flops. like every year. It's just like,
hey, he should get GQ Man of the Year if he stays dropping 50, built like us.
I know, right? But thing is, honestly, when all you do is run down the court, you park at the 3-point line, you don't play defense. I mean, how much energy are you really expending? Honestly,
it's a fair point. Somebody else asked me about that.
Yeah.
They were like, how much you really think he breaks a sweat though outside of trying to get 50?
I mean, all he does is run down the court, shoots a 3, goes back to the 3-point line, waves his arms, waits for the team to score or whatever they do, gets the ball, passes it maybe, when he's semi-open, it's going up, and rinse repeat.
I'll tell you what's appointment television though. That first game against Houston. Because John Wall and Boogie were talking so much smack about him after he left. I can't wait to see what Cousins gives him when he comes through the paint. I don't want to see James Harden get hurt. I'm actually a James Harden fan. We're both left-handed, big beard, and doughy.
3 or 4 first-round picks for Westbrook and Hart, and they got back. They went out. They got Nick Oladipo. They got Kevin Porter, who left Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I like what Houston's done. They're going to have an opportunity to put together something. I mean, you see what happened, how well the Oklahoma City Thunder made out after they got rid of Westbrook and made their trade for Chris Paul. So I mean, I think Houston did about as good as you can hope to do after having enough knuckleheads go out of town and get something.
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know who has any draft picks anymore. I think they all belong to the Rockets and the Thunder.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, they got everybody's picks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Houston, you got to come away and do something in the draft. And now, like I said, I think they got a decent team on top of it. So, we'll see. I mean, the experiment in it used to be New Jersey, now it's Brooklyn. I almost was saying New Jersey. But the experiment in Brooklyn's not off to a good start. Their boys with the big 3 are now 0-2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem with this particular big 3 is it's 3 guys who don't play defense at all. So you're then looking at your best defender on that roster in the starting lineup being DeAndre Jordan, who's 31. Not the same player he was in Lob City at all. I like DeAndre, but he's just, Father Time's catching up with him. I think they've got enough to come out of the East. I think they can beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series. Because I wasn't on the bandwagon with everybody else that thought getting Holiday put Milwaukee over the top. I thought it was a great addition, really nice piece. I didn't think it made them, they're officially the team to beat now.
To me, Milwaukee won't be that team. And Rashawn said this, I think, earlier. I need to put some on. So, and Rashawn said this earlier. If Milwaukee's going to be that team, if they're going to take it to the next level, and if they're serious about winning a national championship, Giannis is going to have to learn how to score in the paint. If he does not learn how to score with his back to the rim, they'll never win a championship. Ever.
It's going to have to either be that or he's going to have to develop a 3-point shot.
Well, that's not going to happen. So
yeah, I mean, ideally, you'd rather your 7-foot unicorn to be able to play on the block.
Yeah, I mean, if he could play on the block, he would literally be unstoppable, like Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, that's a terrible charge call, by the way. Come on,
it's almost like Kawhi Leonard. Like once Kawhi gets in the paint, once he gets in the block, he is literally unstoppable. Mm-hmm. And the only time that he really defeats himself is when he tries to. And he can shoot. Don't get me wrong. Kawhi can shoot, but when you try to go out there, try to shoot too much, and you try to make that too much your game.
You're talking about Kawhi. Kawhi's a 6'8", wing forward. So if he doesn't have necessarily low post game, I can even understand that. Giannis is 7 foot tall, and he does not have any sort of back to the basket. He doesn't know how to get the ball, get on the block, and shoot over his left or his right hand shoulder. And for a guy who's 8 years into the league,
that should be money.
Have that at all is pitiful. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, people can marvel at how great he is in the open court and how awesome that Euro step is in transition, but your team looks like ass in the half court. And it's because you're standing out top, you can't shoot the ball, and basically all they do is crowd you and dare you to shoot ugly fadeaway 18, 19 footers. Like, that's all
I mean, he should, because, I mean, he should literally be like, to me, he should be like a bigger, more athletic Kawhi Leonard. And that's Giannis to me. A bigger, more athletic Kawhi Leonard who should be able to get on that post and just eat all day, every day. And until he can do that, Milwaukee's not going to win. They're just not.
Anthony Davis. Just be Anthony Davis. Because Kawhi Leonard's a small forward. Giannis is a center playing point.
Well, honestly, there's really no more centers in the NBA, for real. I mean,
but my point being is that even LeBron knows how to take a smaller defender to the block and punish a team for putting a smaller guy on. That's a part of the game. Is you take smaller guys inside and bigger guys, you take advantage of your quickness on the perimeter. But he's never made it a point to, like, I feel like it's one of those things where he doesn't want to get typecast as a big man, so he's intentionally not done anything to work on his big man game.
I think that's it exactly. It's why Kevin Durant has always said, "No, I'm 6'10". When they, talk about it, you're 7 foot, right? No, I'm 6'10". You're 7 foot. Nope, 6'10". So Dirk taught him that. Dirk always would correct people and say, "I'm 6'11", because he said once you attach 7 foot next to your name, you are expected to live on the block. Dirk ruined big men. Everybody want to be Dirk.
Because if you look at what happens in the playoffs with the Bucks and what has happened for the last several years, and I don't care whether it was the Toronto Raptors or the Boston Celtics, when playoffs come around, it's no longer a full court game. It becomes a half court basketball game. The reason the Bucks lose is because they spend 50 to 60% of the shot clock with Giannis dribbling the ball on the perimeter and nobody playing on the block. They had Brook Lopez, who was another 7-footer that all he wants to do is shoot threes. You have Giannis wanting to dribble the ball out top. Now you have Drew Holiday, you have Chris Middleton. Get your big butt on the block in the half-court sets and take advantage of a mismatch. Like, that's what he's never learned to do, and until he does that, I don't think the Bucks will ever be successful.
It's wild. If you watch highlights of Giannis, he looks like the greatest thing that's ever graced a basketball court. Then if you watch a full game, because all they do is they show you, check this out. He gets a rebound, takes 4 steps, literally Euro step, and he's dunking it at the other rim. And it looks like a gazelle out there. It's incredible. Then you sit down and watch a full Milwaukee Bucks game, and 10 minutes into it, you're looking around and going, do they ever have a half-court set or anything?
Nope.
No? Okay.
You just run around and hopefully somebody can dunk on somebody.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for you.
And truthfully, the 2 games that they had best in the playoffs versus the Miami Heat last year when they lost were the 2 games where Giannis was out of the game, and you had Chris Middleton handling the ball out top with Pat Connaughton. And Giannis wasn't even playing, because then you had the guards spacing the floor, and they had all the guys playing in their proper positions, and the offense looked way better. And like, it just, to me, I don't understand how they don't see it. And it's got to be Giannis. Giannis must be, like, just really averse to playing on the block. Like, that to me is the only explanation, because that's why they continually lose. And they've never been to an Eastern Conference Finals. It's because they don't do what, wins in the playoffs. You don't win in the playoffs playing transition basketball. It doesn't work like that. It's defense and half-court execution.
And good ball move by U of L. Very, very good ball move on last possession there. Oh, look at that good push. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go. Pull it back.
NBA 3. Good.
All right. Sure.
That was nice in rhythm. That's what you want to see, a nice in rhythm.
I just like to know that we do have a 230-pound player on our team, and he's really good at sitting on a chair and clapping.
That's talent. But
get him out there and at least let him screw up, man.
But but everybody has to have their role. His role is like head cheerleader. He gets the guys hyped up. He gets them in the game. He gives them a pound of butt when they come in.
Always got a warm towel for you.
That's right. He has that big chest bump coming in for you.
Yeah.
That's what you need. He can recite Juice WRLD lyrics and get you hyped up.
I just think that every time Chris McAdams made the game, he's disgusting. I really do. Like, he had that issue with Darius Baker. And he just, every
Ooh, nice block. Good rejection.
You know, I mean, I just hope at some point that this is.
Three. Just a little short. Oh, what a rebound. Williamson, there you go. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Oh, wide open? You took too long. You see, like, when you're that open, you have to shoot it in the rhythm.
Yeah. Don't think about it.
Good push off. I like that. I have a feeling everybody is going to clear concussion protocols for this AFC NFC Championship game. I just have a sneaky suspicion.
They've already said that Patrick Mahomes has been cleared, which is amazing.
He was cleared like the second the game was over.
Yeah.
You're good. Go to practice. Here's some game film.
Well, the thing that cracks me up is that they always say that, you know, it's an independent firm that clears players and that they have to do, you know, good and well. An independent firm was not going to do anything except say he was okay.
Don't you remember when Peyton Manning went rogue and, like, completely went off brand and showed his true side, like, briefly when they started the concussion protocol and said guys are just going to lie so they can cheat it? I would. They said, what? He goes, yeah, all you have to do is tank the test that they give you when you're not concussed. That way they have a baseline for you, and then when you are concussed, they don't know the difference. Reporters just sat there like Peyton Manning really didn't say that.
Well, you know, but Peyton Manning is also the guy who just, anytime a defensive lineman got next to him, he would just fall down. Like, you never had to sack him hard. You just had to touch him. It was like, you know, like playing two-hand touch. Put two hands on him. He's like, ah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. And folds. All right, dude, you got 2 seconds. What's the play here? What's the play?
Give the ball to David Johnson.
If I ever become an NBA coach, ooh, I was close.
Man.
If I ever become an NBA coach, I'm going to coach just like Bobby Huggins. I'm going to get me a stool and a jogging suit, some gold chains, and just sit on it and coach from there. The Bobby Huggins way.
Yep. With a towel to wipe my sweat.
That's right. But not with a good jogging suit either. I'm going to give you a cheap Adidas jogging suit.
Yeah, from the dude selling it on the corner where the arena is?
Yes.
Yeah.
The way Bob Huggins does. Because Bob never has like any like designer jogging suits. He has like the Walmart special. He just comes out in a windbreaker, his Walmart special.
Bob Huggins looks like he owns a successful chain of pawn shops.
That's funny.
Uh-oh, look at this.
Emphasis, though, on successful. He's good about it.
Ooh, 73 to 39.
39. Ouch.
Did you guys happen to see the jogging suit? I don't know if you watched the women's game on Thursday night when Louisville played their first game as number 1 team. The jogging suit was the head coach for the Syracuse women's team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The velour Syracuse jogging suit. That's hilarious.
My buddy had a I don't know why he thought this was a good idea to purchase, but he got a purple velour suit and like track suit. He's a big dude. He looks like an economy bottle of Crown Royal. We were like, man, you need a little gold trim. Like, put on a gold chain real quick. Like, yeah, is this making it pop? Like, oh yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, CR, it is.
That's it. Put some money on top. I remember as a kid thinking, it's like, man, where's my mom got these little cool bags from?
I thought they were fancy.
I did too.
I thought they were like something like they held jewelry or something like really nice. And nah, man, mom was just drinking, just hitting the crown. Just hitting the crown.
I just want to give a shout out to all the people that still are on here on this live stream. We've had a consistent group of folks that have been listening to us right off after the whole first day. And this Louisville game, Louisville all the way up 36-33. They played pretty well in the first half. I just want to thank everybody for continuing
11 o'clock. Open 11 to 8, Tuesday through Saturday. We are closed on Sunday and Monday because as much as we love barbecue, we also like time with our family.
There you go. So if you want some wings, get there at 11:01. Because if you get there by 11:05, they may be gone. So
Seriously. Sold 400 before 9 a.m. the other morning.
So, I just want to, once again, even though I'm not there, unfortunately, I'm coming from the West Louisville office today. I wish I was there to smell all the good food. But, make sure you guys go out there and patronize. Everything is good. The pulled chicken is amazing. Pulled pork is awesome.
Don't get the brisket.
It's outstanding. So, just make sure you get out there and patronize them and tell them you heard about it on the Made a Good Sports Show pregame show.
And we're the only barbecue shack you probably know of that will actually sell you one single rib. Just one rib.
That is hilarious.
One
Shout out
rib.
to Chris Rock.
Shout out to the like 1 in 25 customers that get the reference too.
I'm pretty sure most of our listeners got that one. If I was a betting man, I was about 90% of our listeners got that joke.
Oh yeah. It's more, but it's about 5% out in J-Town.
Yes.
That's funny. Well, fellas, we about ready to wrap it and get ready for this exciting second half of basketball.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. We'll go get your food boxed up.
Hey, we'll get my food boxed up. Hey, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. And Rhett, you're right, the audio is a little low. We're working on that as we go along. Hey, big shout out to Rhett, Dewey, and Daniel down there at DMV, doing more business. Big shout out to Rashawn Myers from Myers Manor down in West Louisville. Big shout out to FDKY, the greatest barbecue joint east of I-65. By far, hands down, no contest.
We'll take it.
That's right. And enjoy it too, like a man. Hey, thanks for tuning in. And like we like to end every show, there's no struggle.
There is no progress.
Peace.